Hello, hello, amazing leaders of the Leah Lauchlan and Julia Burnett National Areas. Oh, my name is Heidi Gelzer, National Sales Director with Mary Kay, and I am blessed beyond measure to be able to be your guest speaker at your special luncheons for the cream of the crop, the top of the top, the people who are on target or who are future executive senior sales directors in these two powerhouse national areas. Oh my goodness. When Leah asked me to do this, I was just, of course I said yes. Of course I said yes, because you guys, people know you all across the country as areas that seriously are just powerhouse, areas that are fun, areas that are holding parties, areas that are making money, areas that are created in leaders. So happy New Year. What a great way to spend January 2nd at your January Jumpstart among the people who are going to build you up. And I'm so excited to see you at Leadership in LA. So please come up to me and say hi. And I'm sure we'll be partying together at the Great Gatsby party and at the amusement park. So how fun is that going to be? Well, you know what? I'm just so excited to talk to the top of the top. It's my favorite thing to do because you think differently. You think differently. You see, when we were at the National Sales Director Summit in November, that's what really hit home to me, is it didn't matter what my area size is at this moment. It doesn't matter, where I'm ranking at this moment. And I hope that you guys believe that too. It doesn't matter where you are today, but you're going to move forward because of how you think. Leaders, top leaders in this business think differently. So get excited that you're only inches away from being a national sales director, and it could just be one little tweak, but you're already thinking like the top of the top in this company. And so you know what? Great leaders first make great followers, and that's what you're doing. Obviously, you're going to show up at this event, right? It's not a question. There's other people that you have to beg and just tell them it's going to be so awesome. You just trust me. Your nationals never need to do that for you because you get it. Leaders show up. Leaders show up. And so the people that I have followed in this business, some of them are your national sales directors. They've taught me great things. One of the things that Leah has taught me is she really talked about how when she was building her national area, it was a minimum for her to see 50 faces a month. And that grew and that grew and that grew. But that was a first step, that she would see 50 faces a month and they would have 10 new recruits. And we've adopted that in our national area because that is so key, you guys. Mary Kay herself used to say that growth is at 10. And we know that. We know that. Everything that I'm going to share with you today, you know, but sometimes when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so just to really go with what Leah has taught you. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Hello. Okay. Be a bulldog about that 10 new a month. Be a bulldog about that. Be willing, because you guys, that creates momentum. National Sales Director Leah Cardett talks about momentum is built in 30 days. It is January 2nd. Get excited. You have a whole month to build momentum, but a movement is built in 90 days. Are you ready to take that movement and go forward with it? And then National Sales Director Diane Menteply, she would always say, if you want great growth in your unit, she would say 12 personal recruits in less than 90 days. That's what retired national sales director Barbara Sundin used to always tell Diane. If you want growth, it's 12 personal team members in less than 90 days. And you guys, that created tremendous growth for my sister Nikki. I know that we're going to be in the same seminar now. Hello, welcome to the Diamond Seminar. But last year, my sister Nikki was number 2 in the Diamond Seminar. A year and a half prior to that, in October at our fall retreat, she was not even on target for the $300,000 unit club. And Diane had special time with her, and Nikki asked her what to do. And that's what Diane said: 12 personals in less than 90 days. Nikki had a unit size of 200. Some of you who are watching this have big units, and you think, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else that I can do besides recruit 12 personals in less than 90 days. And Nikki was going to her success nights, and she was just praying someone was going to show up. And the people that were showing up, there were 2 people from her unit, not adoptees, that were showing up. One was terminated. She was in T status. And the other one just cried every time she showed up. And Nikki was like, oh my goodness, they're not in my unit right now. I need to go find them. And so she took what Diane said and she put it into practice. And she went home, and in November, December, and January, she had 12 personals. I think she recruited 7 in January from the momentum that she was building November and December. On February 1st, I went down there and we had a little get together at her home. Remember, in October, there were 2 people looking at her. When I went to that event, there were 14 people from her personal unit, all recruited by her or her personals people. And from that group, there was one person who believed that she could do it. And on February 1st, she had 1 active team member. And in the month of February, with only 28 days, she built to 10 and went on target for her car. In March, she finished her car and became a 1-month normal. Yeah, that's what happened. And then from there came another offspring sales director. You guys, was everything perfect with that situation? You know, we hear these stories and we go, oh, wow, great for her. 12 personals in less than 90 days. All these happened. And she went from being on target for nothing to doing the $700,000 unit club. So that's exciting. But the rest of the story is this. On literally 2 days before seminar, that hotshot sales director who was amazing, who was on target, she had earned the first level car, she had earned the premier level car, she had 2 DIQs, and she was officially on target for her Cadillac, not just on target for her Cadillac in her brain, officially on target with the company. And she called Nikki 2 days prior to seminar and said, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm going to be quitting. She quit. With I think 8 or 9 people coming to seminar from her unit 2 days later, she quit Mary Kay. Nikki showed up and she was celebrated on that stage and she was a trainer. And if you wouldn't have known her, you wouldn't have known. She was devastated. She was heartbroken, but she went on. You guys, you see, that's what leaders do. We look at all these national sales directors and we think, oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. They're so energetic. You know, some of them are so young, like your nationals are. You know, they can do anything. But you guys, that's not what it is to be a leader of leaders. It's to keep going even when your heart is broken, to show up at that seminar and ride in the cars with those offspring directors people and explain to them what happened and let them know that they can still do this, even if their leader decided it wasn't for them. You guys, that's true leadership. Leadership is going through the hard times. Leadership is not just changing your activity, but it's changing your brain. You see, Mary Kay used to say, we can do everything right with the wrong attitude and fail. But we can do everything wrong with the right attitude and succeed. You guys, so much of this is about our heads, so much of this. And you know, one of the things that I've learned from Julia that really changed the thoughts of our national area is how can I? How can I? You see, we all have different lives. And when we start looking at other people and saying, well, she doesn't have my husband, or she doesn't have my children, or she doesn't live where I live, or she doesn't have my background, or she doesn't have my unit. You guys, all we're doing is we're hurting ourselves and holding ourselves back and making excuses instead of saying the words, this is my life. This is my life. This is the lot that I've been given. This is where I geographically live. This is the person that I'm married to. These are the number of children that I have. This is the amount of intelligence God has given me. This is the amount of creativity that this person has. Now, how can I? Now, how can I? Julia, your words, how can I, have changed all of our thought processes. And you guys, that's the worst thing in this business, and it can hold you back for so long, is comparing yourself to others instead of thinking, no, God has made me enough just the way I am. How can I use my situation, my gifts and abilities to His glory and be the best version of me? Well, you all know this already, right? I know you know this. So one of the themes of our national area this year is just this thought process. Oh, I lost my place. It says, change your thoughts, change your words, change your activity, change your thoughts, change your words, change your activity, change your results, change the world. Change your thoughts, change your words, change your activity, changes your results, which changes the world. You guys, you all know what to do. You know how to hold parties. You know how to hold, I'm sure, more fabulous parties than I've ever held in my life. But here's the deal. What is the reason why you're not where you want to be? It probably goes back to limiting beliefs. The story that you're telling yourself instead of how can I, why can't I? I read a powerful book this year, powerful. It's called The 7 Decisions by Andy Andrews, one of my favorite books. He's also written The Traveler's Gift. Also, I think I love them both. The Traveler's Gift is more of a story, and he goes on to his next book, The 7 Decisions, to really talk about the head stuff, about what's holding you back. And in one of those chapters, he talks about limiting beliefs. And you guys, we all have limiting beliefs at every single level. We have different limiting beliefs, right? As a new consultant, you didn't believe anybody would book with you. You know, as a red jacket, you might not have believed that you could earn the use of a car. As a car driver, you might not have believed you could be a sales director. As a sales director, at some point, you might not have believed you could earn a Cadillac or offspring a sales director or earn a trip or become a national sales director. As a national sales director, we also have limiting beliefs, right? And I'm going to share with you my 5 newest limiting beliefs. I just wrote these on Tuesday, the day that I actually tried to make this video and it didn't work. And it didn't work on Wednesday. So God willing, this is working. I'm hoping you're seeing this video. Okay. Here are my newest limiting beliefs. Because once we get past the limiting belief, you guys, another one comes. Another one comes. But they're not going to be the same. And they're going to be different. And you're going to grow through them. So get excited about that. But also, you're going to be able to bring it to conscious level and say, wait a minute. That's not a real thought. That's a limiting belief. That's not the truth. So here's my latest limiting beliefs. Number 1, we are going backwards instead of forwards in area growth. Number 2, my leaders do not believe enough in this opportunity for themselves to be able to passionately share it with others. Number 3, the number of directors in Mary Kay is dropping. Why would the Gelser area be different? Number 4, I only have 2 Cadillac units in my area. People don't believe they can make great money quickly in Mary Kay. And number 5, limiting belief. I'm not creative, hardworking, or strategic enough to build an inner circle national area. Now, when you write down your limiting beliefs and you're honest with yourself about them, they can be ugly. But I think sometimes the reasons affirmations don't work is like, I'm a national sales director. I'm a national sales director. I'm a national sales director. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's because we're not getting out the limiting beliefs that are actually holding us back and that we're actually thinking before we write an affirmation. And so those are my limiting beliefs. Now, we don't want to stop there. Okay. You want to get to 5 because look at me. The 5th one was the real icky one, right? The 5th one's the icky one. So you got to get to 5, in my opinion. And then, though, the next part is writing the power statement, which is the exact opposite of the limiting belief. And so, number 1, we are going backwards instead of forwards in area growth. This is my power statement. We have 60 IQs in our area, and I am willing to be focused and passionate to build 30 directors by seminar. Okay. Number 2 and number 4, my limiting beliefs kind of went together. My leaders don't believe enough in this opportunity to pass it on, and they don't believe they can make money quickly. Okay. So I made one power statement for that one. Leaders are arising who are willing to hold the full circle, passionate parties required to earn Cadillacs and find leaders and make over $50,000 a year and more quickly. You guys, you all know this. When you hold enough passionate full circle parties together with the right people, great things are going to happen and great money is going to be made. Okay. Then the 3rd limiting belief, the number of directors in Mary Kay is dropping. Why would the Gelser area be different? And this is what I said. The Gelser area is growing and building a passionate organization of women who are growing spiritually, emotionally, and financially, and are passionately seeking women who are willing to work and grow and change generations. And then number 5, I'm not creative, hardworking, or strategic enough to build an inner circle national area. And this is my power statement. God has given me all the gifts and talents I need, and I am willing to work smart and in my strengths to build an inner circle national area to His glory. You see, once you write the limiting beliefs, don't keep them. I only kept them for training purposes, okay? Get rid of them and only have the power statements. But then here's the key, and this is what your nationals are so good at. You know, both of their stories include such discipline with their heads. That is to read those power statements every single day, to read your own words that make you excited and that overcome the limiting beliefs, you guys. And that's my New Year's resolution. One of them is to work on that, to do that every day, to read those power statements. So number 1 in the exercise is to bring those limiting beliefs to conscious level. Bring them to conscious level. Do that. Number 2, write your power statements. Okay. And then number 3, as a new key behavior, read and say those power statements out loud every day until you've gotten past that, right? Until you've gotten to that new level. Now, here's the key is as leaders, Mary Kay used to always say, I think Mary Kay said this, I don't know. is to, when you go to workshops or to trainings as a leader, you want to listen with two sets of ears. One is for yourself. How am I going to grow myself with this? And then number two is for the people that God has put in your organization. So number one is, yes, you're going to go through these limiting beliefs and you're going to be vulnerable with yourself, but then you're going to go to your key people and you're going to train them and talk to them about their limiting beliefs. And what I feel is so effective about this training, my friends, is your vulnerability. You see, if I'm not willing to be vulnerable with you, you're not as likely to be vulnerable with yourself, number one. Your directors, your consultants and your directors, they think you walk on water. They think you don't have limiting beliefs. And for you to be vulnerable and share your limiting beliefs first, that allows them to be truly vulnerable with you and to share their limiting beliefs with you. And it is powerful, you guys. It is powerful, because when you have a consultant who is talented and who is trained and yet isn't moving forward, it's probably a limiting belief that is holding her back. And that's the same with you. If you know what to do, and maybe you're even doing it, but you can't get to where you want to go, it might be a limiting belief that's holding you back, and you need to address it and get rid of it. Okay, so to close this up, why be a national sales director? Why become a national sales director? You know, I'm making this video, this training on New Year's Eve day, and I took some time to thank God for my last year. And many, many, many of the experiences that I got to have were in relation to being a national sales director with Mary Kay. Even if it were family experiences, it was in conjunction with the Mary Kay event, or it was because obviously of the Mary Kay money that I've made that have allowed us to do the things that we wanted to do as a family. But the sentence that I often said as a new national sales director, when people asked me what it was like to be a national sales director, I told them it's better than you ever imagined. You guys, it was better than I ever imagined. You know, I debuted on June 1st of 2012. And so I had a month or so before getting ready for seminar. And when I went to seminar, it was my parents' first seminar. And they came as guests of a national sales director. And they walked the red carpet that Mary Kay lays out to go into the NSD suite. Well, you guys, you might not think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it, because you know what? Red carpet, we get red carpets all the time in Mary Kay. The real world, you guys, doesn't get red carpets. And when my mom stepped out of the NSD shuttle onto the red carpet, she started crying, because she said, they have this red carpet out for us, Heidi. You guys, those little things that Mary Kay does that we take for granted, the rest of the world has no idea how we live our lives. And that the staff knew my parents' names and that they greeted them. And they've come back other years now as after I've been a national, and they just love it. And they love coming to seminar. And you know, that was my husband's first seminar. I know some of you might think that's absolutely ridiculous, but you know what? We all have different lives. And he's always, I love my husband so much. But he's not someone that you would think, oh, Mr. Mary Kay. Okay, my goodness, when you see Cliff at the pictures of Cliff at your retreats, hello. Okay, my husband would never do that. That's just not who he is. But he's a Christian, wonderful, supportive husband who always stayed home with our kids during seminar, just because it was so much easier, because our kids are all different ages. Now we have Karis, who is 21. She's a sales director and a car driver in our national area, getting married in May. We have Nathaniel, who'll be 19 in this month, and then Anastasia, who's 13, and Gabriel, who's 6. And so it was always that he would be home with the kids. So his first seminar was as a national husband, and it was pretty crazy. But what he really talked about, what he took away from that, was influence. You see, as we're flying home together, we have all of our kids. And so I'm sitting with Gabe right here, and then Christopher's sitting with another woman across the aisle from us. And I don't know her, but she's a sales director in Mary Kay. And all of a sudden I see them holding hands. Like, really, why are they holding hands? The woman grabbed Chris's hand and he said, are you afraid to fly? And she said, yes. And he goes, I don't like to fly either. So they held each other's hand to comfort each other. And she said to him, I know who you are. You're Heidi Gelser's husband. He said, you do? Okay. Because they saw us debut on the stage. And she said, you know, Heidi made a CD that totally changed my thought process and changed my life. You guys, I'd never met that person before. But as a national sales director, you have influence that I never knew existed. You know, another thing is that when you go for a goal with a deadline changes lives. A goal with a deadline changes lives. And when I finally made the committed decision myself to become a national area, you know, that was the key. I'd wanted to be a national my entire career, and I'd gotten awfully close a couple of times. Some of you know my story. I had 5 directors quit in a 6-week period as we were only 2 away from finishing a national area. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. I was disillusioned, all of those things that some of you had been. But you know what, guys? Leaders keep going. Leaders keep going. There wasn't any option. Maybe there was an option for a day. Would I do go back to teaching? Oh my goodness. Hello. No freedom, no flexibility, no income, no travel. I mean, I wasn't going to do that. I had to figure it out. I had to push through with the grace of God and good mentors and good friends. But you guys, we've all had low times in our businesses and in our lives. But when I made the committed decision, it didn't matter who was going to quit. You see, that's the difference. It didn't matter who was going to quit. It didn't matter who said yes and then who said no. It didn't matter who disappointed me, because I was going to keep going. I was going to work. You know, Abraham Lincoln was asked, you know, in the Civil War, he had like 7 generals before General Grant, and they were all horrible. And finally, he found General Grant, who won the war. And people asked him, how could you stay doing that? And he just said, you just keep putting them in the boat. You just keep putting them in the boat, you guys. And that was my philosophy about Offspring National Sales, Offspring directors. They were going to quit, but I just had to keep putting them in the boat until I found the right ones who were going to stick to finish this national area. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. One of the people who stepped up because we had a goal with a deadline is named Kate Unger. And, you know, that January before we finished, at the beginning of the month, she had 2 consultants on her team, and she wasn't a star. So by the end of that month, she needed to be a star consultant and build her team to 10 active team members, and she did it. And then she finished DIQ in a 2-month period. She worked for the University of Wisconsin in its marketing division. And so at the end of May, you know, Kate would always say, I loved my job, but I didn't love my life. She had a great career, but her marriage was crumbling and she never saw her children. And so at the end of that school year, because of her decision to be a part of this national area, she was able to quit her full-time job. Well, that spring, her mother's cancer had come back with a vengeance. She had been in remission for years. And so during the day, Kate would be with her children. In the evening, she would hold her appointments. And at night, she would go be with her mom wherever she was, either in the hospital or at home. She would sing with her. She would pray with her. She would read with her. And she was there when hospice was called in. And she was there when the pastor was called in as she breathed her last breath. And what Kate Unger could say is that she lived with no regrets. With no regrets, you guys. You see, she became a sales director not because she thought she'd be a great sales director. She became a sales director not because of the money. She became a sales director because I had a goal with a deadline. I didn't know it was going to happen. She didn't know it was going to happen, but God knew it was going to happen. You guys, all those stories remind me that when I'm disappointed and when I'm frustrated and when I'm tired and when I don't think I'm good enough or smart enough or creative enough to be a great leader, I remember that it's not about me, and that God has put you in this position, my friends, in the top 1% of the company, to lead people and to love them. And so, you know, there's so many reasons why I love the position of National Sales Director. You know, if your basic need is power and achievement, you are known by the company. Every time you walk into a place, you don't need a name tag. They know who you are by name. They respect you. You know, if you are fun and pleasure, my friends, you get trips every year until you're 3 years after retirement. Nothing has to be earned. And what I love about that is that, you know what, on a top sales director trip, there are some people who make it 1 year and some people who don't make it another year. On a national trip, you're there for life. You're there till you retire. And so you create deep, long-lasting relationships, yourselves and your husbands. And for my husband, who's an introvert, that's a very big deal that he goes and doesn't have to reconnect every single time, but he knows these people. If your safety and security is your basic need, you guys, we have the Family Security Program. And if you look at your national sales directors' paychecks, they've gotten higher and higher. They've become nationals and senior nationals. You don't lose money as a national sales director. You get a new car. Your kids just know you're getting a new car. You're not worried about qualifying. It's there. It's such a blessing, you guys. If you are freedom and choice, you get to live your life truly the way that you want to live it. Truly. Do we work? Absolutely. I'm going to share with that in just a second. But you know what? As you can see from your national sales directors, they're so different, but they leave such harmonious lives just the way they want to live them because they were willing to work when other people weren't. And if you are loving connecting like I am, the relationships that you make as a national sales director, I have found none better. I have found none better. Women you can laugh with, women you can cry with, women you can travel with, women that you can trust. Seriously, that you can trust. You guys, will you work to get to national sales director? Absolutely. Maybe the hardest you've ever worked in your life. But that year that we finished it up, I had such joy because I simply focused on building leaders. Nothing else mattered. The star count didn't matter. The prizes, the parties at leadership, nothing mattered except, as Barbara Sunnon would say, who's my next personal, who's my next DIQ. When I got laser sharp focus on building leaders and nothing else, it was a great year. It was so much fun. And all of those other things came in the process. We had the most stars we've ever had. I earned all the parties. I had my highest paycheck up until that point. And we did the $600,000 unit club and not the 650 because we finished on June 1st instead of July 1st. But we had our best year ever. You guys, you can do it too. And will you work as a national sales director? Absolutely. You know what? You love to work or you wouldn't be here. Work is a blessing. So we work as national sales directors. But as Pam Shaw told me before I became a national, you work with leaders. Oh my goodness, you're not working with people to get them active. You're not working with people to try to get them to place 225s. You're working with leaders. And that, my friends, is pure joy. So congratulations for being here as a leader of leaders. Congratulations for earning this luncheon. Congratulations from being a breath away from the position of National Sales Director. You already think like one. It's just time and a little more of what you're already doing before you get there. I love you, I believe in you, and God bless your new year. Bye.